Hi everyone, welcome to the mini Clintonville Area Commission. We don't have a quorum, so we can't vote on the agenda to make it official, but we'll use it as a guide. There are no votes today in front of the commission, so that's okay. It's going to be mainly an informational type of meeting. A couple of presentations that we have ready for this group. But if you're able, please stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and get this thing going. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. We'll begin with district updates. Commissioner Arnold.
Yes, hi, I'm Commissioner Arnold from District 2, so we were happy to see that the bridge construction is completed on West North Broadway, so I don't hear nearly as much cussing as I used to at the corner, so that's been a great advantage. So that's all for our folks.
Commissioner Saucer.
Great. Angela Saucer, District 4. It's been quiet in the district, but I do want to give a shout out to the Clintonville July 4th committee for all the fantastic festivities throughout the entire day on July 4th and then the wonderful fireworks displays. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Paul Watt, District 1. Reminder that Crest Fest is August 15th from 11:30 to 9 on Crestview near Calumet. Everyone's welcome. I had a constituent ask me some questions about an Airbnb, but I wasn't able to ascertain whether there was trouble with it. But I gave her the information from the city website about who to contact and 311 and all that. And so, and there appears to be some kind of paving work coming along Calumet, but we're not quite sure when. There's sidewalk demolition markings all over the place for areas of sidewalk that are in poor condition. So look forward to that, really. That's it. Commissioner Clapp.
Thank you. So, to my knowledge, no one has been charged with violating the New Deer Act, so I don't have to eat my shoe yet. So that's number one. So I have both in this meeting and through like the official channels have attempted to obtain records from Zone in Columbus. I'm actually a supporter of much of what Zone in Columbus is trying to do. However, they're in clear violation of the Ohio Public Records Act and probably will look at litigation. The intent will be Zone in is going to transform zoning in ways that are broadly felt, and I think it's important that those documents are transparent, and I'm committed to, once I receive them after litigation, to putting them on a website so that the public can see the sequence of events that led to Zone in and the policies that are now there. Last thing I'll say is a number of other area commissions have taken positions in support of the Our City, Our Say ballot initiative that will be on the ballot in November to create real districts. I am a proponent of compromise with City Council on this front, which I think other people, when we've discussed this in the past here, have discussed, which would be a hybrid system. And so I would advocate for both that coalition and City Council to come to some compromise on something that would be fair. And the report.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we can't approve past meeting minutes, and we don't have a treasurer's report. So there may be a CAC Elections Committee update for upcoming elections this month. Committee member Fournier.
Yes.
Hi.
Standing in for Chair Ball. She recovers from surgery, but she's doing well, so good news on that front. Just as a reminder, the districts that are on the ballot this year are 1, 2, and 9. Current candidates that have been certified to appear on the ballot for District 1, Paul Latta, District 2, Brenda Arnold, and District 9, there's currently no certified candidate. But on that note, write-in candidate petitions, including signatures of supporters, are due to be filed tomorrow, Friday, August 7th by 5 p.m. Just checked at the front desk. There's none submitted so far, but we still got till tomorrow, so we'll see. The Elections Committee will certify any write-in candidates by Tuesday, August 11th. The election is currently scheduled for Saturday, August 22nd. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Whetstone Library, with early voting taking place Tuesday, August 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. But per CAC rules, if there's only one candidate per district, whether they're a regular candidate or write-in, the CAC will declare that candidate the winner of the election and cancel that portion of the election. So further updates will be posted on the CAC website and Facebook page once we know more about write-in candidates due tomorrow. And that is full report.
Great, thank you very much. Next we have updates from the City of Columbus. Stacey?
Just me. So just a couple. So the Dan Charles and networking event, I sent a flyer email, but also parts over there for anybody who is willing to, or not willing, but would like to attend our event. It is September 19th, 9:30 to 12:30 p.m. Gallery of Champions on 3900 Westerville Road. Keynote speaker is Kenston Henderson Sr. It is free to attend. You just have to register, and just so that we know how many people are coming. We do have a cap. I think it's like 200 people. We do get close to that, but please register. Rumpke Recycling and Resource Center Tour is Friday, August 21st, 9 to 11 a.m. You do have to register for that, and that is in your email as well. I also received 2 invoices today from Treasurer Miller, and that is for ad in the paper for $150, and I believe, if I remember right, $250 for PO Box, and those will be paid the Golden Check on Tuesday of next week. So, and I still have not heard back from the Crescent Project.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do.
We did, yeah. I'll build up again tomorrow.
I'm personally looking forward to the Rumpke tour. I signed up for that, so.
Good, I'm glad. I've taken the tour. It's it's worth it.
Great. And just so everyone knows, Suzanne, who used to come here from representing City Council, she has gone back to school and is no longer with City Council. So hopefully we'll have a new rep at some point. Maybe.
Maybe we'll see. We will see. I don't know.
All right. We are flying through this agenda. The next one up is Columbus zoning update. Is there someone here from zoning?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you for having me here today. My name is Louis Taba. I'm the zoning project manager. You've been getting zoning updates from Mark DeVillis, but he is in Greece right now on vacation, so I'm going to be here today. Please hand these around. We have these updated engagement timelines. There's extra information. So I just wanted to come give you an update. The city is continuing to update our zoning code comprehensively for the first time in 70 years. It is economic and housing opportunity. While the first phase of zoning focused solely on housing, getting housing units and density along the corridors, and creating mixed-use districts, we're now looking at another phase of the city. We looked at all of our office, all of our manufacturing, all of our commercial, all of our retail, and all of our institutional districts in the city. And we did an engagement with the community last year called the Columbus Growth Strategy, and where we defined what buckets and what areas of the city could support mixed-use, industrial, warehouse, and business and institutional campuses. We took all those zoning districts and we put them in these 3 large buckets. We did a lot of community outreach last year. We did surveys, we did workshops, we did a gallery, we did events, and we did an open house, not a gallery. We did events, and we took all of the community feedback and we made 19,000 changes to the proposal. Map changes solely based off of community input. That created the policy basis for us to now do zoning in the city of Columbus for this phase 2. So throughout the year, we've been coming to the area commissions. We've been meeting with major civics. We have gone to over, I think, 122 events. Over 1,800 people have heard our messaging. We've been having one-on-one meetings with the area commission chairs and zoning chairs so they understand the process, so there aren't any surprises along the way. We'll be coming to the area commissions every other month and our major civics. And we've been doing newsletters in the meantime to try and make sure the community and the area commissions are appraised of the work that we're doing. And we're here this month to provide another update. So right now, phase 2 is going to include 15 districts. Phase 1 included 6 mixed-use districts. We're doing 9 additional districts. That will lead to a total of 15 new districts in this phase. We're going to have 3 new mixed-use districts. Phase 1 was all about the corridors, so the mixed-use districts went from very high intensity to a 4-story intensity. What we're looking at now is doing mixed-use districts that work more in our suburban areas of the city and a lower slum 3-story mixed-use district. We're going to have 3 industrial and warehouse districts. We're going to have a heavy industrial, a light industrial, and an urban industrial. Our urban industrial is for the older industrial that's in the 1950s boundaries, where it interacts with residential areas, and what we want to do is make sure that those interactions are improved. Industrial heavy, we're trying to make future industrial heavy be further away from residential areas, and we want to have industrial light act as a buffer between industrial heavy and industrial light. So 9 new districts. Our timeline, as you can see, I've handed it out here. We are waiting for council to come back from break for us to go for a resolution of support for phase 2. That will begin a 60-day public comment period. Did anybody take part in the first 60-day public comment period? We had the gallery downtown. It'll be very similar. During the 60-day public comment period, we'll have a gallery downtown where you can reserve a tour of the gallery. One of the city planning staff will give a tour of the gallery. The gallery hours are going to be from 11 to 2 and 4 to 6 for those 60 days, and then every other Saturday, from Monday through Friday, 11 to 2, 4 to 6. There's going to be opportunities for the community to meet with their council representatives at the gallery, so there will be scheduled council events where they will invite area commission members, major civic members, to come in and discuss the proposal with you. If you want a tour of the gallery, like I said, you can reserve a spot. Walk-ins are also welcome. In the gallery, we will explain what Zone is, why we're doing Zone In, how the growth strategy helped inform Zone In, and then we will provide all the districts, all the standards, and all those other things. And what we're looking for more than anything is community input. We're going to have a survey, and that's going to be our main way of collecting information. The gallery will be our main engagement tool. And we really want to make sure that we have a zoning code that the community supports, that our developers support, that the residents support, that allows the city to grow as it should in the next 30 to 40 years. What we're trying to do is make more flexibility in uses in parcels. To offset that flexibility in uses, what we're doing is we want to have design standards in the code for the first time that set an expectation of what design should look like in the city. And we're looking for community input to see whether or not you agree or disagree with those standards in the map that we have. So once we start the 60-day public comment period, there will be over 206,000 postcards going out to property owners, of affected property owners and those within 125 feet. That's the code requirement. We also feel like it's important to reach out to our renters and tenants, small business owners, people who may be renting property, because they should have a voice in the process as well. So we're also sending out postcards to tenants and renters within 125 feet and those of affected properties. There will be 2 public hearings hosted by council during the 60-day public comment period. We encourage everyone to attend. We're going to have a webinar, a public webinar, where you can ask us questions and we'll answer questions about the code. After the 60-day public comment period, there will be 2 additional council hearings. And what we're going to do after the 60-day public comment period is we'll look at the totality of all comments, we'll look at the survey, and we'll make any necessary changes based off of community feedback and input. So we encourage you to stay engaged. We have our zoning website is on the bottom of the page. We also have an email where you can sign up to get email updates throughout this process. So visit our website, sign up for emails, participate in the public meetings and hearings, visit the zoning gallery. And we are going to be returning to the commission in September or October with further project updates. So we will be back. to discuss the project with you and answer any questions you have. And we encourage you all to be engaged in this process. Any questions?
Yes, great. Thank you very much for the information, Louis. Looks like the gallery will probably open in September, October based on the council's schedule.
Yeah, we don't have finalized dates yet. We still have to go through the legislative process, but we're anticipating it will be open in September.
Okay, so then you've been on this 2-month cadence here, so, but now you're saying you might be back here next month, which will be fine.
Yes, we want to, during the 6-day public comment period, we feel it's important to come out to the questions.
And one more question, you mentioned design standards. Are those architectural design standards? And will those apply then to the original 6 districts that were already rezoned?
So the original 6 districts, we have design standards relating to the amount of fenestration, how many windows it should have, what kind of entrances should be in a building, that there should be a base, a middle, and a top, that there should be a certain amount of windows on the 2nd floor. Those do apply to the 6 original districts. If you look at our code standards pages, we talk about what kind of entrances can be used on buildings. You can use a stoop, you can use a main entryway, things like that. So standards that will be built into code. We will have design standards that apply to the new districts that are very similar to our industrial districts, to our campus districts, and to our industrial districts as well.
Okay, thank you. Do any commissioners have questions?
I have a question though.
Sure.
On the website, we can see where those zoning districts are.
Absolutely.
Like where they're at right now.
Right.
What they're going to be.
So on the website right now, what we have is we have the Columbus Growth Strategy Map. That's what was adopted. You can go there and see those 3 big buckets that I created. So you'll see that there's mixed-use districts, industrial warehouse, business and institutional units. When the 60-day public comment period starts, that will be replaced by the zoning districts. So the way it works now is we have on the Columbus Growth Strategy Map with community input, we identified, let's say for example, where mixed-use 1 can go. Mixed-use 1 has a height of 4-story maximum height. We have a menu, now that's kind of policy. It's like this is where these things should go based off community input. What we're doing now is we're creating the districts. Districts are the laws and regulations that people have to follow when developing the property. So we're going to say, okay, mixed-use 1 goes up to 4 stories. There are 4 districts that could potentially fit in there. So we have a menu of districts, right? Some of them will be the phase 1 districts, those 6, some will be new. So in some instances, we have suburban locations or urban locations. It's an urban location, it's going to get one kind of a district. It's a suburban location, we'll get another one that allows for more auto-oriented uses, right? Is it a 3-story mixed use 1 district, or is it a 4-story mixed use 1? So those are the kind of questions. For mixed use 2, the same thing. We have it all mapped out as where mixed use 2 can go, but we have 2 mixed use zoning districts. One's urban, one's suburban. And they have different heights. So we're using the policy basis that we got from community input that we adopted last year, and now we're starting to fit in the zoning districts that would go into those broad categories. Now what we're going to do is release that to the public and have that 60-day public comment period, and then we might make adjustments to the map, to the zoning code based off community feedback. Just like when we did the growth strategy, we'll look at all public feedback. If there's usually if there's like a large number of responses on a certain site, we'll definitely look at that and make adjustments. Some comments we listen, we can follow, some we can't. Some people want skyscrapers all over the city, right? So we don't really listen to those. Some people want 2-story buildings all over the city. We don't agree with that either. So we look at where are the trends, right, in the comments and the feedback, and that's what we follow for the most part. Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we will make adjustments as necessary, and then that will go for council consideration. Great question.
At the last open house, actually, I have one question that applies to both events. The open house that's at 141 North Front, and also the city council hearings. At 141, there was free parking during the day when we came down to visit the displays and everything. There was free parking in that garage. Will that be an option this time also?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is the parking to come to city council now? To come to council chambers, where do we park? Back in the old days, you see, we used to park right there, but now we can't do that anymore. Where do you park to go to city council?
I park at the employee parking, but I don't know. So if it's the public, I don't know 100%, but I think 141 North Front Street, I think is the closest public parking.
That is the one thing that I wish that when they have the hearings and that when they invite us to come, well, we're not all riding bicycles, riding the bus, and for some of us, more than a 2-block walk could be a bit of a hardship, let alone going through the brouhaha that you have to go through to get into council chambers. But anyway, but there needs to be, it needs to be publicized. How is it accessible for me as an almost 80-year-old person to attend any or all of these events? Because I have a vested interest in this.
Absolutely. So for the public hearings, we're going to have 2 public hearings out in the community. So one will be at the King Lincoln's Arts District, and one will be at Galloway Bridge on the far west side. They will always be streamed online as well. For the council events, the gallery, the parking's right there. For city council, I can find out exactly where we have parking for city council. I don't know if it is our parking garage. I apologize, I'm not sure about that, but if you want to give me your name and number, I could look it up for you. Or I could share it with
You can publicize it. I'm sure that believe me, I'll find out.
Okay. I'll see you there. Yes, okay.
More than likely.
Okay.
Do any commissioners have questions?
I would like to echo that point. I think that it's a good one that like we want a Columbus City Council that's accessible. And so not only is parking like not a accessible thing, but like unlike if you go to the State House or even like at the federal level, you can like walk the halls and like talk to folks. They have this place locked down like Fort Knox, and as a victim of the identity theft that occurred by going to a city council meeting, I've got some like hard feelings about the inaccessibility. So I appreciate you raising that question. I will highlight in addition, anyone in this body who like requests from you all like information, that is a public records request.
Correct.
And they have denied my requests around their polling. They have not provided it again when I did it in email, and only when I CC'd the media did they respond. So when we talk about like what does accountable government look like, and whether or not we're just like a dog and pony show here, this is a problem, and which is why like when I say I'm going to litigate it, I'm going to litigate it. It's bad behavior, and the idea that like folks are going to go to these things and there's been community input. You know what the input is? Which developers like paid and had a say in the process.
Yeah.
So like unless people here believe that like this dog and pony show means anything, and I'm not even opposed to everything that they're doing, but like let's not lie to the public and let's not lie about what's going on here. So on that point, I think like we actually need advocates for our community, and like I want to like hear less bullshit.
I know, I'll tell you, that happened in the short north, because I went through it. And they get their way. And city council made it very difficult.
Write a check.
Yeah.
Anyone here who wants like their input, like write a good check.
And they said only a handful of people keep showing up. Everybody else isn't complaining about it, so it's okay. That's what we were told.
I have still not received the push polling that they did to try and pretend like that they got what they wanted. So like it's going to be litigated. I'm very sorry and disappointed in our city government on this question.
Are there any other questions regarding the phase 2 zoning?
I'll say there is no push pull. There is no push pull.
I can't wait to get it from the court records because I saw it.
Could I get your business card for the minutes, please?
I don't know if I have one with me, but I can give you my email address.
I just need your name, your spelling of your name and your time.
Oh yeah, Louis, Luis. Last name Teba.
EA.
Yes. T as in Tom, E as in Edward, E as in boy, A as in apple. Zoning project manager.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Louis. Okay, next up we have Jacob's going to talk about the participatory budget program in the City of Columbus, City Council District 3. And you put together a presentation.
Yeah, if you don't mind driving for me.
No, just say when.
My name is Jacob Miller. I'm the chair of the Planning and Development Committee for the Clintonville Area Commission. Just wanted to talk to you tonight actually about two things. But first is the participatory budgeting process that we are currently in the midst of. If you haven't heard, you can go to the next slide. It's the first time that the City of Columbus has undertaken this participatory budgeting process. Essentially, they have a line item of $9 million for capital projects across the city, and they're divvying that up based on council district. So that means that for District 3, which includes Clintonville, Old North, parts of other neighborhoods, that means we're getting $1 million to a capital project. So yeah, did you have a question?
What are the boundaries of District 3? Do you know offhand?
I was just looking at it the other night.
Clintonville.
So it includes parts of Old North and just across 315, some of the neighborhoods on the west side of the but I mean, it's kind of Swiss cheese and stuff, so it's hard to clearly find, but thankfully pretty much Clintonville fits neatly within it. So with that in mind, there are certain projects that are eligible, so they have to be capital projects, so nothing that's maintenance or an ongoing cost. And they divvy it up into 4 categories: infrastructure, environment, safety, community. And because this is a participatory budgeting process, they actually have a website you can go to. I linked here that anyone can go to. Any community resident can go on there and upload their ideas, their proposals. They do have. I recommend reading through the FAQ and through some of the descriptions that they have for helping you clearly write your proposal, and so that other people can understand it. Because these will then be kind of voted on later down the process, and that's open until August 28th. But with that in mind, we go to the next slide. The Planning and Development Committee, if you're not aware, we've presented capital project ideas to the Area Commission, and the Area Commission has given those to City Council. In the past, this wasn't technically a participatory budgeting process. It was more like, hey, we're coming up on capital, budgeting. We just want ideas from the area commissions, and so Planning and Development has been providing those recommendations for the past few years. And so because of that, we have already a list of project ideas that we've been asking for a couple of years now. Some of them, like the Indianola Shared Use Path north of Morse Road, is actually being studied currently. So, sometimes these do actually get through to, more to get implemented. But with that, we couldn't take our entire list and just, present that to you guys tonight, because we have that $1 million cap, and we understand that, because Council District 3 is more than just Clintonville, we're probably not going to get that full $1 million. And also just keeping it open into the idea that maybe there's going to be new project ideas that get added or that people request. But to back up a little bit, we don't because this is the first time that they've gone through this process. We don't know how it will work as far as what gets these projects on the ballot, so to speak, that they're going to have. They basically are putting the community organizations that are in charge of each district in charge of that process. So they basically assigned a community organization to each district to kind of run this process. For our district, it's Elevate Northland, and I believe one other organization. And I believe Commissioner Miller has been kind of having conversations with them to coordinate this. But our thought from the Planning and Development Committee was, if we give the Area Commission some recommendations, I know you can't vote on them tonight, you can at least, kind of show support, show commission support for these ideas, we know that that carries weight in this process and getting those ideas onto the ballot that then people will get to go onto the website and like vote for. So that's why we are here tonight to present some project ideas to you. Basically, you know, these are kind of like the vetted ideas that we have gone through, because we didn't want to, you know, based on what I have understood from the website and from talking to other people, you know, they are looking for one, community support, but also some just basic vetting of like, this is feasible, this is like, could be done on public property, this could be done within $1 million. So that's kind of the process that we've gone through, if that makes sense. And we can go to the next slide. So based on that, it was pretty clear because of previous CIP processes that High Street, and especially traffic safety on High Street, is a big point of emphasis for folks. We also have done crash data analysis in the past that has showed High Street to be our most dangerous corridor, especially for pedestrians and bicyclists. But for everyone, it just has the highest crash rate in our neighborhood. And the other parts that came up with that was like High Street's also like, you know, our neighborhood main street. It's like where a lot of our businesses are. You know, there's a lot of parts of High Street that we don't feel are the best as far as, you know, comfort and aesthetics and the streetscape. So these projects address those issues as well. You can go to the next one. So the first is curb bump outs, which basically are the extension of a curb, you know, into the parking lane. It has a lot of safety benefits because it shortens crossing distances, makes pedestrians more visible, slows down turning vehicles, and visually narrows the roadway, which reduces speeding, which is an issue we've heard a lot about. Go to the next slide. What's also beneficial about these is that these can be done through quick build, which basically means they can be done with paint, flex posts, and other materials. Their costs are pretty low when it comes to things that have a big benefit to to safety. So as far as all the safety countermeasures that we could consider, like these, you get a lot of bang for your buck. They're also an opportunity for civic art. I know we, you know, in Clintonville love our civic art, so this would be a really cool opportunity to get people creative and you know, see what they can do. They would be more of a temporary solution. In this case, that's about 3 to 5 years. We would say temporary before they might need to be refreshed, repainted, you know, or, you know, hopefully if people really like them, then you could do a permanent install with concrete. Then they can also, like I said, they can be adjusted, they can be removed if there are issues, which is another advantage. Go to the next slide. And I made this quick little mock-up of this just because I wanted to emphasize that we are able to identify several locations where curb bump outs would not reduce parking. These are all locations where this is essentially dead space because it's the space where, you know, it's the crosswalk is right there, and then there's just the rest of the curb until you get to the intersection. So you can see here on the left that all of that space is essentially, you know, wasted, so to speak. You can't park in there. That's not, you know, it's not a legal parking spot. So what you do is you would, you know, paint that area in, essentially, add, you know, posts and everything. And one, you would bring pedestrians more, you know, make them more visible because they would now be standing, you know, a little further out than standing up on the curb. I don't know about you, but when I'm crossing my street, I usually step into the street anyways because I'm trying to make sure people can see me around the parked cars. So this would basically formalize that. But also, it slows down your, you know, people who will maybe want to speed around a corner as they're coming down High Street because now they have a little bit more of a extended curve there. And then just the other part, it visually narrows the road, so the road doesn't feel quite as wide, because we know that when roads feel wide, people tend to drive faster.
People whip around those right turns like it's an off-ramp.
Right. Right. No, I get nervous when I'm slowing down to take a right turn that someone's going to rear end.
Yeah.
So this to me, I think helps with that. Go to the next slide. So these are the locations that we determined. So some of these would need, you know, you could have bump outs at all four corners of the intersection. Some only be, because they're T intersections, only need like two. And we did some very on the napkin, very basic cost estimating for this. So, take these with a huge grain of salt, but just kind of based on, folks on our committee and their expertise and their previous experience, we came up with some costs. So if we took sort of an average number, that would be about $77,000 for all of these. If we took, more of a maximum, worst case scenario, it would be about $155,000. So that's just to give you a sense of the cost, because we'll kind of tabulate this all. Go to the next slide. The next one was more medians. We have, this is an example of one that we do have in that more commercial, district just north of North Broadway. And these provide several benefits. They provide, if they're at a crossing, they can provide a pedestrian refuge. You can stop there and then cross a second time. Again, they also help with that visual narrowing of the roadway. They can be used to manage access. So if there are locations where taking a left turn, to get onto High Street is dangerous, you can make those into, right turn in and out by putting in a median. You can also just reduce risk of crashes in those two-way turn lanes. Those are very, very dangerous. It's one of the reasons why High Street has so many crashes, is because people are going head-on in those turn lanes. So you would, in a lot of our locations for these, we were able to find spots where you could put these in without, taking away the ability to make a left turn. So we found a lot more opportunities than we thought we would when we were going through this to do that. And of course, they enhance the streetscape. That was something we were really trying to think about, is how can we add more trees? How can we add more greenery onto High Street? So go to the next slide. So this is another example. We identified 5 locations at Deland. Well, 5 medians at Deland. We found 2 potential spots for medians, and we have all this in like a map in a spreadsheet. But this is just an example on the right of, this is at Oakland Park and High, where this is still designated a turn lane at the intersection, but as you can see, there's nowhere to turn left to. So there's no reason for this section to even be anything, because you can't make any turns from it.
Unless you live on Orchard Lane.
Sorry? You go beyond
You gotta
that.
go beyond
You
it.
have to go north of Oakland Park.
So this is at Oakland Park, you can turn a right onto Oakland Park.
Uh-huh.
To turn left, you would just go into a building, so there's no leg there. So you go up, and then there's turn lane up further north that you can still use. We would not be replacing that with this. And so this has 2 benefits. One, it's a median space, but also because it's at an intersection, you can see we can extend it into the crossing and actually make that crossing safer, make it a 2-step crossing. And we have had a pedestrian injury crash here, severe injury crash in the past 5 years. So this was a location we really wanted to highlight. The average cost for this was around $196,000, as much as $262,000. It can get higher than that. So again, these are trying to be conservative with it, but it really depends on what level of treatment you want to use. And then we go to the next slide. The final is pedestrian hybrid beacon crossings. If you've gone up High Street near Worthington, you've seen these. These would, when you press a button, essentially the red lights flash, and they requires traffic to stop. And they're safer than standard crosswalks. They can be used at unsignalized intersections and at mid-block positions. So they would be a big advantage, a big safety improvement over a standard crosswalk. If you want to go to the next slide. So we had 3 locations, and actually one of these is not on High Street, I'll point that out. So between Olentangy and Kelso, so that would be a mid-block location at Deland Avenue, which is where North Star is, and then Sharon Avenue and Morse Road. So this location we've had several crashes at, and it's not High Street, but we thought it's come up many times in our discussions as a really unsafe spot. If you know, right now it actually has those yellow flashing just lights constantly, those are kind of like an old, like out of the, you know, we don't really use those anymore. Like they're not really considered best practice anymore, right? Because people just ignore it because it's flashing all the time. So that felt like a really easy swap in this case because it's not something that is even up to standard anymore, and it doesn't work. And this would actually, you know, could replace that one for one.
So they would put that crossing there, so do you think people would stop?
So these do see a lot better
Because
compliance.
there's a lot of traffic that goes through.
Yeah, and I think the big reason is because it has red lights, and so people see those solid red lights and they understand, okay, I need to stop. The issue with the yellow is one, it's flashing all the time, so people just kind of start to ignore it, and two, it's a yellow, flashing yellow, so people aren't quite sure what to do.
There's a lot of confusion with these though. There's the one on Northwood on 4th Street heading north.
Yeah,
People don't really know how to react. Some people will stop, and then
Yeah.
when it starts flashing, they don't know that they can go.
Yeah, they
So-
do.
The one on
That's what I'm
Cleveland
saying.
Avenue at the
People,
library,
by that time, we're going pretty fast.
the one on Cleveland Avenue at the library, I think it's pretty much ignored.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
I think that people ignore them.
so I mean, the like data that I've seen shows that they are better than standard crosswalks. Now, could you do a similar thing with an actual traffic signal and have a true, you know, red light that comes on when people are trying to cross? Yes, but then that problem is then as soon as you say I'm adding a traffic signal, then you go through like different processes. Then the city is now thinking like,
Yeah.
oh, does this warrant a signal? Is there going to be enough, you know, pedestrians here that it justifies it? Even this is going to be hard to argue for. You know, I think right now the city's probably more willing to do traffic safety things like this than they have in the past. But that's part of why we're picking this. Not that it's necessarily the absolute safest version. It's just that we think it's more feasible as, you know, the way the city currently makes these types of decisions.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I frequently see people going way away from the crosswalks, ignoring them. Does any of these approach that?
Where any specific location?
On High Street.
So,
Like close to Graceland especially,
Yeah,
on Morse Road.
yeah. There's a couple of reasons for that. I mean, one, I think I'm always surprised. There's actually more crosswalks on High Street than you think, but not all of them are marked.
Right.
Because even if as long as there's just a curb ramp, that is a crosswalk, even if it's completely unmarked. So that happens a lot. Two, you know, whenever you have like, you know, a bus stop or, you know, two really popular destinations and they're right across from each other, you know, people aren't going to go out of their way if the next crosswalk is really far away. They're not going to do that. They're just going to cut across.
Sure.
So you know, part of that with this is to, you know, one, mark those crosswalks and make them very obvious, but two, to give people those safe locations that they're like, oh, this is like, you know, this is actually worth walking a little bit for and, you know, making that crossing.
It's framed.
Right. Whereas like, you know, I mean, I feel like I've done this on High Street. You're like, well, I don't really feel any safer, you know, crossing here than right here where I'm standing at the curb. Like it's all kind of the same. So the hope is that this kind of improves that, if that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of those crossings that I think functions pretty well is in Worthington, just before you get to 161.
Yeah, that's one.
I think that one works pretty well.
Yeah.
And I can think of a crosswalk that could really use this sort of thing, if you could add it to your proposal three, is the crosswalk right in front of Bishop Watterson High School.
Yeah.
That Cook Road.
Cook Road.
Long
That
Cook
is
Road, that's pretty
horrendous.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, that's one that we could consider for sure.
Don't you think a lot of it has to do with driver education too? People don't understand that it's
Yes.
lost,
Yeah.
that when you see a
Or they're
crosswalk and somebody's
distracted.
standing there,
Yeah.
that you're supposed to, they have a right of way.
Yeah.
The pedestrian has a
Yeah.
right of way. So many people just don't get it anymore. I often wonder, do they even do driver's ed anymore? I'm not kidding, I mean, I've never
It's
seen,
different now.
people are insane with driving. It's
And that's
crazy.
one of the benefits of these is they improve compliance because people, it's hard to deny that there's a crosswalk there when you have one, it's
It's not a
marked,
bad idea.
and there's also the signals. So
Yeah, you should call it attention upper and lower.
yeah.
You know why I think it works in Worthington more than with here? Police department.
they don't mess around. If you're
Yeah, it's
flying
raining right
through
now.
there, they're gonna nab you, and most people know that. But here, nobody pays any attention, so I'm just saying.
Next slide.
Yeah. So just a final kind of overview with the bump outs, medians, and pedestrian hybrid beacons. We estimate anywhere from 439 to 807,000. So it's a pretty wide range, as I said. These are very rough estimates, but we were happy with this range just because one, we know it's unlikely that we'll get the full million just in this neighborhood because it is a larger district, and we understand there's still other community proposals that area commission or just the general public will have. So this also leaves room for people to make additional asks from the city during this participatory budgeting process. I put this here, some projects may require study. I think, the pedestrian hybrid beacons and the medians are probably the most likely to require the city to study them in more detail just because they might be worried about how it would affect traffic flow or access. Whereas the bump outs, as I mentioned, don't have any direct effect on the road, on any access or anything. So the pedestrian hybrid beacons, if you're thinking about how traffic moves, through the signals, if somebody presses a button and stops all the traffic, then you're obviously having an effect on the traffic flow. So they might want to study that. But if you remember, when the city came and talked about the speed study, they said, hey, we can't lower the speed limit right now because of the results of the speed study, but if we did like bump outs or did other things that are, intermediary steps, maybe in the future we could lower the speed limit once we can kind of demonstrate that the traffic calming is working. And then go to the next, sorry.
Can I take some on to what you're saying with these proposals? There's another intersection. It's where Dominion curves and becomes East Shire, and then Shearing goes here and then goes that way. It's right across from the World Language School, World Dominion School. Very dangerous intersection, pedestrians, bicyclists, people walking their dogs and baby carriages, and it's just very dangerous, and people just keep flying around.
Yeah, I used to live on Dominion, so I'm very familiar with that. So when I always thought that would be a good roundabout spot. It's really small.
You mentioned roundabouts, I think those are great. I'm
Yeah.
serious. It's that people don't have a choice, they have to slow down.
Is it Acton and Grandin has a small little road?
What's that?
Yeah,
Acton and Grandin has a little tiny.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that's it, yes,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
So can you add that in?
I will have to look into that because I don't know how much it'll cost and everything. But you can also, like I said, anyone can submit project ideas. So,
I have no idea.
well, you don't have to have figured out the cost. That was just something that we were doing
You can just
to try to
propose
bolster it. But yeah, anyone can propose it, and then anyone else can go onto the website and
say, I agree.
I approve with this one. I like this idea.
Yeah,
Please do.
And and then you actually have it up here on the next step. So, sorry, go back. We're going to submit these proposals on the participatory budgeting process website, so people can vote on them. We know that I think there's been some talk of having a Clintonville public participatory budgeting meeting, but I'm not sure when that is going to be yet. I think that's still being discussed, but it'd be great to be able to present these again if that does happen. And basically to have demonstrate community support for these proposals. We might not be able to do that before the proposal deadline ends, but we could at least do it maybe during, at the next CAC if the area commission wants to, do a resolution or something to show their support. I think that would be helpful in getting these, on the ballot for the community voting, which like I said, is determined by those delegates. It's not determined by city council or, by the area commission.
Great. Does anyone have any further questions regarding participatory budgeting?
Thank you for that very thoughtful presentation. And I think all three of those are ones that were well thought out. I appreciate that input. Participatory budgeting is actually a really cool model, but does take some time and education and learning. it does allow the public eventually to like make their own, and I understand it's in the first year.
Yeah.
So like, I appreciate that there are some like kind of like front end proposals for what that could look like. But I do think it's important for us as an area commission and elsewhere to like, the innovation of participatory budgeting is like going to the public and having ideas like generated so that we can do things that like solve community problems. So I hope as long-term, there's an emphasis on like reaching out to the public, because at least when the dispatch article came out about it, like there had already been like a bunch of like things already listed, which made me think that it had already been kind of predetermined, which is fine. I understand it's the first year, so I'm not going to be impatient about that, but I do want to say if like we're going to actually call it participatory budgeting, it does require that the city actually engages the public and asks their participation. I'll just highlight like the lack of, I thank you all for being here, but like we're in a deficit of public participation within social life. And that's a consequence of government that has no longer asked the public to have a say in things. But this is a great first step, so I'm not poo-pooing it. And I think it's like, I hope it continues. My only like thing that breaks my heart is like, so we're talking about $9 million, which is, I think when I looked at like 0.04% of the budget. And like recently we gave the Haslam family like $50 million between the county and the city. We sold a park committed to kids with disabilities. And like this, so like my feedback is this is a great first step, but like you can't fool the public. So I would inquire and argue that we should invest in the public and actually engage them in a way. And but this is a great first start, and I appreciate your thoughtful presentation.
So I'd encourage everyone to comment on the website, throw in your own ideas. There might be some things that we just missed, or certain aspects of your own neighborhood. So
it's to be determined how this will be, how this will go. So we're kind of going through it for the first time. So we'll see.
Any other questions?
I have just one.
Yeah.
Could you just briefly expand on the current proposed project for the Indianola corridor?
So that was something we submitted.
Changes,
We had proposed, actually, that goes back to like 2009, I think, is when we first had it in an area plan,
I'm sure
this project. But we proposed it for the capital budget process a couple years ago. And what we were describing is a shared use path. It's kind of like a trail, like next to the roadway on Indianola, going basically from Morse Road, kind of in between the train tracks and the roadway, going up to the basically like the border with Worthington.
Gotcha.
Either in between or on the other side. They haven't determined that yet. But so north of Morse Road. So currently that area has no sidewalks, no anything. So that I believe is currently about to be studied or being studied right now as part of a feasibility study. Basically, the city is looking into it, but we're still probably a couple years away from construction.
I noticed a bunch of survey flags on the east side of the road.
My guess is it'll be on the east side because I think the road's pretty close to the right-of-way line on the west side. So it's not great to work with the railroad either, but it's probably easier to do it on the east side.
Less conflicts.
And conflicts with the streets.
But I thought the right of way, I thought the railroad owned a lot more between the road and the tracks than we thought it did. I thought that was discovered, that was been one of the drawbacks over the last few years of trying to move this forward, is we found out that the east side of Indianola, to the railroad tracks, that because you'll see railroad ties dumped there and everything, and that belongs to whoever. Is that Norfolk and Southern?
Yeah, it's. I don't know for sure where those lines are going, so I don't know how much space there is.
The railroad company would like to put in a bike after us.
Good luck. You can't work with the railroads.
Really?
No? Okay, well, thanks, Jacob. And this next item here.
It's actually me as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, on a regular basis, every other month, the Clintonville Area Commission and the Rotary Club of Clintonville have been meeting to talk about a variety of issues where we can collaborate. And one of the things we've fallen upon, again, is high street safety and what that means. So we've had, this is from the last meeting on July 11th. And they're open to the public, anyone can attend. We've been meeting in the Clintonville Resource Center's Annex building on High Street. And do you want me to just kind of go through this a little bit, or do you want?
I was just going to make one.
Go ahead.
Just connection with the participatory budgeting thing. Like, this participatory budgeting thing kind of popped up, and so we, started putting ideas together. So it's kind of happening out of order than what we would like, because we're going to talk about like a survey and things tonight. But I think this will still, just in general, continue to show support for making changes on High Street.
So you talk about a variety of things. One was like trash and whetstone, which is kind of an issue that needs to be cleaned up. We talk about traffic safety quite a bit. We relayed to the Rotary Club what the traffic engineer from the city had told us regarding that. We're not going to lower the speed limit basically unless certain things happen. So it's almost a catch-22 situation. And then I mentioned the budgetary issues. And then we talked with the P&D committee discussing which intersections are prioritized. Which intersections should be prioritized for this. That's exactly what Jacob just went through. And then we talked about, I think the big thing here is the Arborfest and the survey.
Yeah.
So the Clintonville Area Commission will have a booth shared with CABA, which is the Clintonville Area Business Association at Arborfest. And we are hoping to print out some bumper stickers.
I have surveys.
We have surveys too, that's great. That just like this is a Slow Down Clintonville, in an effort to encourage people to drive slower. And Jacob, this is where you come in, and you have developed a survey, which I've taken, my coworkers have taken, my wife has already taken. You just scan here with your phone and take the survey, and go ahead.
So yeah, if folks just want to pass these around, and we'll have these at the Arborfest as well.
What's the survey and what's the point of the survey?
Yeah, so it's essentially asking people about traffic safety on High Street. So you basically get a bunch of questions that ask you about your personal experience, whether that's whether you've seen crashes or been involved in a crash on High Street, and then asking the type of transportation that you do on Clintonville, so we can get a sense of how people are interacting with High Street. And then it'll ask you, your top issues. So you'll see a whole list of things, and you can basically select the ones you care about, and then there'll be another question that's like, pick your top issue when it comes to safety on High Street. So, and then finally it'll end with basically like locations. So you can give us ideas and locations that you want us, to really talk about. And like I said, this whole Rotary process and this discussion started way before the participatory budgeting process. So this is something that, it's a broader thing. So this isn't dependent on participatory budgeting process being successful, and it's its own kind of thing. But I think the overall idea is to get a better understanding of what people in the community are thinking when it comes to High Street, but then also to then turn around and be able to give these over to the city and show there's real data, there's real community support for these types of improvements. So, and really help us determine what exactly those improvements need to be.
Thanks, and I hope that everyone takes the survey and pass it on to your friends and neighbors and your social media. Is there a link? Do we know if this is like in the Clintonville Facebook area?
It hasn't been posted there yet, no.
Yeah. We'll probably post it there as well.
And fire last night, so.
Yeah. And then I think it's a very important thing. I think if we get enough people together and enough respondents, and that we have something really to show the city and let them know that, come on. Any questions from commissioners?
I just want to give a shout out both to the Rotary Club of Clintonville and Cava. And if you are looking to get involved in something locally, these are both two really cool groups with really intelligent folks that are committing time to trying to improve our community. I also want to thank the area commission for partnering with them on this process, and I just appreciate the work that's been done on this. So thank you.
Can we get bumper stickers that say slow down?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're working on, so.
We're trying to get bumper stickers, a stack of them at the Arbor Fest.
But you need to pass them out at 315 and Broadway and then 71 Broadway. Because you see, the people that are driving through here at 90 miles an hour, they don't live in 43214 or 43202. They're just passing through.
Right. Yep. So what I do is when I drive, see 35 is the maximum speed limit, so I drive at 32.
Yeah.
Traffic lights are set at 32.
Well, thanks, Jacob. Any other questions from folks? Okay, wow, we're right on schedule. Now, 8 o'clock, we have some time for a public comment. If anyone in the public has something they want to bring up.
I do.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name's Chris. I'm here with a lot of our concerned citizens from Indian Springs. We would like to call attention to the commission the neglect of the rain gardens in our area.
Yes.
Okay. You're aware of that?
Yes, we know why.
Okay. Let's talk.
What happened was that the contractor that was charged with taking care, and correct me if I'm wrong, of the rain gardens was fleecing the city and not doing the work. And they have been, through however it takes someone to get off the city contract, they've been removed. And a new company called Davy Tree is coming in, and unfortunately on some of these, they probably have, because of the amount of weeds that have developed, they need to wipe them out and replant. And the city is in the process, or the city's contractor now is in the process of taking care of all these. Before, the contract was they had to inspect them once a month and basically every other week.
Right.
That just wasn't happening. They were just right. Yep, we did it.
Exactly.
And so hopefully there's a
It's
lawsuit
not
against
any
that
better now.
company too. But.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
They've been coming around with iPads for what, 5 months?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're telling us that.
Since May, the contract went into effect in May.
The city or Davy?
With
They
We haven't seen the
drive
city.
their trucks around and they stop and they look and they take little notes and they tell us, oh yeah, we're working on it, and this has been going on for 5 months and no one has come out to do anything. I have pictures that I'd like somebody's email so I can send them to you, and I'm not talking about a couple of weeds. We're talking about
Thistle.
their entire garden is full of weeds. They've choked out every plant that they had put in there to begin with. It's an eyesore, and we didn't ask for that. And we were promised when this first started 10, 11 years ago that they were going to maintain those gardens. We've even had people that we know that are maintaining their own gardens. They were threatened by the city that they were not allowed to do that. They should not even step foot in those gardens. It was a misdemeanor.
Wow, they even stepped into the garden.
They are an eyesore, and one of the Davy people told you, wasn't it, or
My
Earl,
husband.
that it's okay, you go ahead, you can get in there and clean them out
go in and
yourself.
clean it out.
So,
First of all, I want to clean them out.
I didn't know any of that. I've been here for 3
We
years.
didn't ask for these.
No.
But
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
noticed, I have been here 3 years. When we first moved in, they were beautiful, nice, taken care of. Then the next year, okay, but last year they just started looking
that's
bad.
when the contractor issues started.
It's all.
Yeah.
And
But
Davy Tree's
now,
not doing anything.
Bad, there's a couple of toxic plants that have taken root into ours. I took pictures of it, and it's a Carolina horse nettle.
Yeah.
It's poisonous. It's highly toxic to humans, pets, everything, and they are in my rain garden like crazy.
Did you eat them?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, this is what my husband said. Did they plant? Because they stripped them bare last fall.
Hers
Bare.
only, they didn't do that for all of
Ours
us.
was stripped bare, and then all of a sudden, these horrible plants have come up, and
There's been an issue with poison hemlock.
Well, there's all kinds of
Okay.
things. There's any number
I
of
think
things
that
in
is
there, really.
one of them that I started to see. I took a picture, so
If I might, please you can send photographs to the Clintonville Area Commission email.
Okay,
And then next month, Blueprint is scheduled to be here. That's
Oh,
the first Monday, or first Thursday of the month. What is that? September 3rd.
Okay.
And they'll be here for something or other.
Okay.
They'll be coming every other month now. So
Okay.
please,
I
come
would
back
like to attend.
and yeah,
for
raise the
sure.
stink. Yes, ma'am.
So we have the matter of the rain gardens not being maintained. And there's also the matter of Blueprint staff not communicating, not
Yes.
returning phone calls,
Yep.
not replying through emails. And it's very disrespectful to property owners. We pay a lot of property tax to
Yeah.
live in our neighborhood. And they're not even, it's like they don't even care. It's not important to respond to us
Well, Vicki had somebody from Blueprint come out
in March.
in March to talk to her, and she actually looked at her mess over there and said, "Oh, they're going to be around and take care of it."
She said that Davy, the new contract was going into effect in May. And Davy had a lot of catching up to do, but they would, by late spring, they would start maintaining the rain gardens again. And they have done just about
Absolutely nothing. We were standing out just this morning in front of hers talking about it, and here comes the Davy truck.
They
And we
passed
keep
us
seeing-
real quickly and went
And they
down the street.
They stop at one of the rain gardens and kind of look around.
Yeah,
They didn't
They
get out
didn't
of
get
the
out of
truck.
the truck.
Then they move on to the next
Oh.
one, and they might be taking pictures.
I know what else they told my husband. They said the reason we're coming around is because we're making sure that it's draining properly. Well, you're coming when it's not even, it's like today. There's no rain. How can you see, oh, that's draining properly? You
That's
know?
The guy from
too.
Blueprint who was here said that they tried to respond to, I'm not defending them, but that's another thing to bring up, that kind of lack of response from
Yes.
Blueprint.
Yeah.
Definitely bring that up as well.
So I guess my question for the folks who are here, I mean, I do appreciate the idea that we're asking you to come back next month, but that's a long time. My personal context is like, that's not the kind of expectation of government. That you should, if you have a complaint, there should be like something a little bit quicker. Do you have any suggestions? Because I'm happy to be an advocate for it, but I don't think you should have to wait a month for some kind of response.
Our suggestions is first of all, they send someone out that understands gardening. For example, we had this one came out, this was several months ago, Davy. They started, there's young girls, and I don't believe they know anything about gardening. They've just been hired by Davy. They left these huge thistles and pulled a couple little plants off the side and said their main focus is basically because of the runoff and the environmental impact, okay? We understand that, and we're all for helping and saving the environment, but this has gone way beyond that. It's just they're not rain gardens, they're weed pits is what they are. And they're ugly.
All the
and we don't
grasses have been
appreciate it.
taken over. Like these bad plants have just taken them over, and they've killed almost all the good plants that were in there. They're slowly dying, like they cannot take it. And so I guess the other thing is we just need to know what are they doing, number
Right.
one, you know,
And when are they actually going to be doing the
and
work they
taking
said they would
these
do?
horrible plants out. Because they're gonna start flowering and they're gonna disperse their seeds.
Yeah, that's a good concern. Stacy, do you remember the gentleman from Blueprint who was here? He gave his contact information, but I can't find it right now.
Keemer here, Keir.
Is that the same?
Keir.
Yeah. Cameron, Keir.
Who's the one, Kathy, somebody?
Connie's back to
That's on, she's on his team.
Yeah.
She's on his team.
She's not responding.
I can let Cameron know.
Thank you, Stacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be that kind of.
I mean, several people have had conversations, or tried to have conversations either by phone or in person, and it's just not happening. They're making promises and they're not holding up their end of the bargain. We were promised it at one point, and Chris has a sheet. You might read that off, some of this stuff. This is what they promised us a long time ago.
You're on Indian Springs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like somebody was saying, first of all, they're saying there's no responsibility for the homeowner. 5 contractors are on the street, selecting their dedicated contract areas. Crews spend the first week of the month conducting quality and health inspection. Second and third weeks of the month are reserved for physical basin work. Crews then complete a post-maintenance inspection and submit that to the blueprint team. And then at the bottom it says, and this is from the blueprint side, residents are asked not to enter and maintain the gardens themselves as they are directly connected to the storm sewer system. So, are we supposed to, in that case, contact code enforcement? Because the city is not?
Yeah.
Because that's what would happen to us if we were doing this on our
Actually,
property.
there is a noxious plant ordinance for the city of Columbus. And we have to abide by that.
Yeah.
We can be reported for it, have to do something about it.
Right.
And there are rain gardens with noxious weeds in them, as tall as I am.
Yes.
Is the city responsible for that?
Yeah.
It should be.
And
Absolutely.
should they just clear cut them at this point and put in gravel?
That
Yeah.
was the talk when we were here a month or two ago, was that some of them will have to be clear cut and then replanted. So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
And it might take a couple cycles, excuse me, to eradicate the weeds that have developed in there.
We have noticed that on the website, they'll still promote that there's expanding these rain gardens into other areas of the city. And I wonder if, because the focus is on that, is that why ours are being ignored, because they don't have time. And if Davy Tree can't handle it, they need to get somebody else on the job. This is ridiculous.
And the city is relying on Davy Tree to communicate.
Right,
with
we
us.
don't know if they're actually doing that.
They're not. We don't know if Blueprint has a quality, they understand the quality that they're getting from Davy Tree.
That's true too.
I actually found a way to communicate with Davy Tree, the woman that was in charge, or is in charge of the Davy part of it, and I kind of had him slapped because I wasn't supposed to be communicating with Davy Tree. It had to be Blueprint. They won't call me back.
The squeaky wheel, and we figure we just have to get this started. And I know there's gobs of other people that this was kind of a late notice for us, but we would like, we'll be attending more meetings and we'll be bringing more people. We're not gonna let it go.
We'll make some calls and
Thank you.
Thank you.
as well, so.
If you could let, I don't know, how, you gonna publish it or you gonna let one of us know so we have an idea of what's going on when she contacts somebody? If you happen to get a response, would be great.
I'll give you this card here. You can reach out to me and I can reply.
Okay, thank you.
I already have this all summer long. You see these landscape trucks and trailers going back,
They've been,
crisscrossing the neighborhood.
Yeah,
People
but
spending
doing
thousands and thousands of dollars on
doing nothing.
landscaping and
so they're almost.
yard maintenance. And the city just blows it off completely.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
reach out to my
All
email.
right, great. Well, appreciate your attention to that because, so far we're not getting anywhere.
Yeah, anything you can do, thank you.
Yeah, our question is how long we supposed, this has been all summer, we're going into the fall.
Yes.
And it's really bad, I mean, I asked them, would you want that in your yard? That's what I'd
Well,
like to
that's
ask
the other
them.
thing, I have two
Two
in my
huge
front
ones.
yard. And it makes, it's just like,
Yeah.
well, it
I was
looks
given the
horrible.
impression that they were supposed to take care of it this summer.
They're not.
No, they have done absolutely nothing.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'll take
the
it.
budget.
Oh,
The budget's
film it
gonna
next
be
time.
approved. And they haven't been approved yet. That's their mantra,
Yeah.
the Davy Tree people.
Oh, their contract hasn't been,
Right.
well, that's an issue too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, well.
So, I mean, and this is more just, so we've got like talented city workers who
Yeah.
can do regular tasks.
Right.
The idea that we're subcontracting
I agree.
and then giving an excuse for that, where do you think that's coming from?
I don't know.
I've got my postulation, someone's getting like their campaign contributions,
Yes,
that's going.
that's
exactly what we're saying.
So
Yeah.
the question is like, do we want an accountable city government? Or are we gonna blame some, they want to subcontract and explain it to someone else? So I appreciate you guys coming and I will be whatever advocate I
Thank
can
you.
for what you guys
Thank
do.
you, Will. We appreciate it.
Great. Are there any other public comments?
I move that we
We'll
do.
send pictures.
I think we're gonna, what's that?
Silencing the public over here.
All right, well, that's come to the end of our draft agenda, and so we will adjourn then. Thank you.
Thank you very much.